The next question comes from Twitter, from John Weinberg. This is to Ulysses first. What was your biggest failure during your time on the essay, and how would you avoid a similar failure as president?
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that question. John Weinberg, you slide out. No, I think my biggest failure on the assembly, goodness, that's rough. My biggest failure has probably been, I don't think I actively engaged as many students as I wanted to. I think I got caught up in a lot of the bureaucracy that the assembly has established. Even as my time as vice president of outreach, I don't think I really pushed members during that time to really reach out to as many different communities as they could have. Again, I was only in that position for a semester because I did end up going abroad. But I think that was my biggest failure. You know, I've had a number of resolutions come forward for the essay, and they've all passed. But you know, it's not, as Stephen said, it's not about the quantity of it. It's really about the quality of those resolutions. And though I really did do my best to actively engage a lot of students, a lot of those were internal changes to the assembly that didn't see a lot of active student engagement. So I think that's my biggest failure, and I think that really translates to that speaks to the assembly as a whole. And I will take responsibility on the part of the assembly that we haven't been really actively engaged in the manner that we should have. But that's also what I am looking to change going forward next year.
Absolutely. So, you know, I think over the entire my experience on the student assembly, I've been proud of the initiatives and resolutions that I've had and brought to the table. But you know, I came and I wanted to be VP of Public Relations because I wanted to increase the knowledge of students about what the essay does, but most importantly, what it can do for you. And I think from that standpoint, I failed, to be honest. I think it's a travesty that not many students know what the role of student government might be, or the ability that student government might have. I think the elections, for example, has always does a great job of saying, of showing what the essay is about. But in terms of what I want to do to change that, and some of the things I've already done doing that, is through the PR strategy, I've seen that concentrating on social media just doesn't get the job done. Not everyone is on Twitter, not everyone is on Facebook. But through CornellSA.com, which I redid and restructured and kind of revitalized in terms of how we could use it and posting it on Facebook, I thought that was a great idea. And I really want to continue working with the communications committee to get the job done and proactively engaging students. I think also looking at the committee that I chair, the communications committee, as a link between VPPR, I think that we could have much more input on the administrative side of things as well. And now we're starting to consult with the student academic services about how you can raise the awareness about late night safety and responsible drinking as well.
All right, and the last question we received said, how will you interact with other campus leaders in communicating one voice to the administration?
Sure. I think when you're talking about working with student leaders, we all have busy time schedules and we all have 1,000 emails to answer. But at the end of the day, I think it's more about forming that personal connection. Seeing through the bureaucracy, seeing through that single layer of, hey, you're the leader of this organization, I'm the leader of this organization. I think it's about the powwow. I think it's about, grabbing coffee and just chilling out and actually talking to people. And I think if you ask a lot of the people who are my supporters, that's something that I excel at. Forming that real interpersonal connection and creating bonds. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to instill in someone the belief and the confidence that you can get the job done just by flashing your experience. But moreover, if you instill in them the confidence that you are a good person, you have their back, and you have the character to vouch for them, I think that's what's really going to unite us, and that's how I'm going to bring the Student Assembly to unite as one voice when we approach the administration.
I think the beautiful thing about interacting with the leaders from all over this campus is that you're not going to get one voice, and that's the point. That's the whole point of what diversity actually is. And you talk about diversity of thought, and then you're just going to have one voice. It's crazy. But we have this thing called the Leadership Roundtable that Dr. Renee Alexander put together. And it consists of leaders from the Greek community, leaders from the Assembly, leaders from all the different umbrella organizations, as well as it's a whole slew of people. And we have actually come together not only in times of crisis, but just just to get together. We have dinners. We actually have one coming up next week, just to kind of get together and talk to each other about the different things that we're working on. So we can get input from other communities. Like, is this a good idea? Is it not a good idea? Have you communicated this particular initiative to your constituency, to your community? Oh no, well how? Let's do that. Let's figure out a way to do that. So that way, at least when we do bring something forward to the administration, we can say, you know, here's the initiative that came before the assembly. We got some pushback from this particular community, and here's reason X, Y, and Z, Y. And I think they're very valid reasons, and we should go through and probably investigate this a bit more. That's the whole point, and we see that with this proposed, you know, well, not even proposed, it doesn't exist, but with the social justice requirement, information is there, and we're getting pushback on it. That's great. Let's get feedback from it. That's our job, is to talk to other campus leaders, to all students, and really actively engage in that process. So I think that's the beauty of it, and I don't think anybody would disagree that I'm personable. I may throw shade every now and again, but you know.
Okay, I'd like to give the candidates a round of applause. Before I turn it over to class councils, I want to ask the candidates for a quick closing statement, just a couple of minutes, so you can let us know why, before we vote on Monday, how we should make our decision.
3 minutes. Can I go first on this one? Right. Okay. So this has been an interesting week, half a week thus far, and I think we've really kind of set ourselves apart. And I think that was really a difficult thing to do at first because we were both so warm and fuzzy. Don't laugh, it's true. But I think there's some staunch differences. Now, my opponent may say that I throw around my experience a lot. Well, my experience is very valuable to me. It's been valuable to this assembly. Because I've seen this assembly at what I would call its worst, when we weren't being productive. And you know, while I agree that, you know, my opponent's a great guy, and you know, I have nothing against him personally. I do think he's a great guy. He's personable, but when it comes to actually doing the job and being productive, that's where I say we need to look at each other's records, and you guys need to look at our records and see what it is we've been doing, see how effective we've been in our goals. Have we met the goals that we've set out to meet? Are we still taking steps to meet those goals? That's what I think. So while my campaign platform doesn't throw around fancy alliteration and some catchy slogan, it really is about putting students first. It's really about actively engaging all students. I want to prioritize students because I felt like I wasn't prioritized. I felt like my community was not represented fairly here. I'm a Black gay individual. And that's a lot stacked against me, you know, maybe not only here on this campus, but also in society. And I found it very difficult a lot of times when I feel like I lose allegiance to one community when I go to another. You know, sometimes it's hard for me to be as fluid as I want to be between the Black community and the gay community, the LGBT community. But I love them both, and I love being there. I love being around the support system that I get from each of those groups. And I think that's the perspective I really bring to this assembly. And that's what I want to see. I want to see us all able to float and grow together. And it may sound warm, fuzzy, and flowery, but I want us to appreciate the differences that we have with each other and move on from that. Let's acknowledge them and then figure out how we can talk through those differences, how we can really actively engage each other, how we can include each other in the different initiatives that we bring forward. You know? So at the end of the day, I'm not going to give you something that rhymes. I'm not going to, you know, stay with Smith or, you know, believe in Breeden. I don't know. You choose what you want to do. But really take the time to really become informed about what's going on. Really take the time to look at who we are, not only as people, but as, I don't know, productive units of the assembly, just as workers. I don't know, this makes me really nervous and stuff like that. I don't like selling myself to people again. I'd much rather be on the ground. So I'm going to leave it at that and say it's really up to you on the day. You have an opportunity to really, I would say, vote for me naturally, and make and continue the commitment to positive change across this campus, because that's what we're looking for going forward. And I would really appreciate your vote on March 4th. Thanks so much.
So, you know, I'm not here to talk about any person negatively at all. You know, I'm not here to sell myself to you at all. I'm here to sell, you know, my beliefs and like the ideals that I may represent because at the end of the day, I want you guys to see yourself in me. At the end of the day, it's the Student Assembly President's job to represent each and every one of you, and I'm so passionate about doing that and actually going out, being on the ground, which is my demonstrated record, and actively engaging each and every one of you. I think at the end of the day, it's not just about, saying, hey, I'm Black and Greek, so I go between Black and the Greek community. It's about going out to Asian night. And it's about having friends who are athletes. And it's about friends who may, invite you to a club sports game, and actively going out there and getting a good picture of what the Cornellian is. There is no such thing as the average Cornellian, because we represent so many different things, and we are such a diverse group of people. And I think that's what I'm here to tell you guys. It's not just about my platform. I want to take advantage of the opportunity that I have next year is my last year on the essay to get things done, because I think the president has the clout and the responsibility to do so. But I think it's more so about pushing the initiatives and the ideas that you guys want to see. This is student government. It's not just government, and it's not just about flaunting 20 or so resolutions because they all have internal impact. It's about talking about initiatives that may affect the entire campus, like those who might be disabled, those that are veterans, those that are gay, those who are members of the diverse community, which means every single community on campus. I'm Stephen Breeden, and I want you guys to believe that I can get the job done. I'm passionate about student government, I'm passionate about you guys, and I want you to believe in Breeden. Thank you very much.